both of our wireless mics are not working. We've replaced the batteries, they're on, they just do not seem to be working. So either you're gonna have to talk really loud, I will share my mic, or the pulpit mic is on. So during our budget discussions, we can use one of those options. And then when I'm introducing the 26 council candidates, I will ask that they go to the pulpit. That way they can introduce themselves and do a short bio. Has everybody signed in? If you have not, there's 3 clipboards, and make sure you have a budget ballot as well. So we will get started in 2 minutes. And Josh, if you want to advance to the next slide, we'll go ahead and put the agenda up. Oh, not that one. There we go. Thank you. And I did forget my gavel, so I guess I can use my fist. One more minute. I want to make sure that we don't leave anybody out, although I think everybody is in. Okay, I will go hard. We'll start 1 minute early. I call this 2025 Congressional Meeting to order. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as we gather for this meeting, unite our hearts and minds in common purpose. Grant us the wisdom to work together effectively and the humility to value each person's perspective. Guide our discussions and decisions that they may honor you and serve our shared goals. In Jesus' name, amen. So as you can see, basically, we kind of have the same agenda every year. We establish our quorum, we state the purpose of our meeting, we discuss the budget, we introduce nominations for the 2026 council, and then we have any congregational concerns. So establish a quorum, we have 446 voting members, and so our quorum is 45, and I believe we have established a quorum. Mark, you said we were at least over 50? He's counting, okay. Mark, do we have a quorum? Do we have a quorum? 40? Okay, we have more than a quorum. Thank you, everybody. And I hate that I'm going to actually step up here a little bit. I feel like I'm turning my back on part of the congregation. Okay, you can go to the next slide, Josh. One more. If we can do one more, Josh, to the purpose. Here we go. The purpose of the annual meetings is to approve the Holy Trinity operating budget for 2026, as well as approve candidates to fill upcoming vacancies for the 2026 Church Council. You can do the next slide, please. I wanted to introduce our 2025 Congregational Council. I'm Council President Saber Black, Vice President Paula Garcia, and if you want to just stand when your name is called. Council Secretary Nancy Mossholder, Council Treasurer Dan Formato, and he is probably working. Financial Secretary Doris Beatty. I'm going to get that right. I know, I'm sorry. You need to just change the spelling of it. Adult and Children Education was Meredith Steidem through July of 2025, and Sharon Foran from October through the end of the year. Social Outreach was Karen Johnston. Evangelism, Paula Garcia. Financial Management, Mark Hinkson. Hospitality, Sharon Mosna. Modern Worship, Chuck Gregory. Property Management, Eric John. Stewardship, Kip Johnson. Sunday Worship, John Fallscraft. Youth and Family Linda Vogt, and Youth Representative Gary Foran. So thank you guys for serving. And some of these members, their term is actually not up yet, so they will continue, and we'll discuss that kind of later. Okay, next slide. Just very briefly before we get into the discussion on the budget, the council and our congregational or committee members strive to be fiscally responsible with the funds that we've been given, that we've been entrusted. The budget is the maximum amount that the congregation has voted to allow us to spend. We are presenting a budget that we feel that we can maintain while still allowing us to continue the ministry here at Holy Trinity. And one of the things I wanted to kind of reiterate, how can you help? Please continue to keep up with your contributions, and we encourage all members to limit your contributions to the designated accounts. To maintain this budget, we need what we can in the general operating fund. Okay, next slide. So there's a couple things I wanted to point out within the budget, and this is, if you're not an accountant, and even sometimes being an accountant, sometimes I don't quite understand. I wanted to talk about the R fund for property. That has a line item in the budget, but it's actually, until we have excess funds, that is not actually transferred to the R fund, so I kind of wanted to point that out. For salaries, we estimated what our new pastor's salary would be based on the guidelines from the synod. Of course, we don't know who our next pastor is going to be, so we can't say whether we're going to be able to, I guess, we don't know the salary, but we took our best guess, of course, based on the synod guidelines and kind of what we are looking for in a pastor. We have, I said eliminated the church administrator position. We kind of changed that a little bit, and we created an office manager position, which Debbie has graciously agreed to fulfill. That is a full-time position. And then we have also Director of Children, Youth, and Family and Director of Music Ministry are also full-time positions. And all the others are part-time or contractor. Most of the other expenses have either been reduced or remained the same. You know, a few of them may have increased because, just like anything else, electricity and building costs, of course, are going up. The one thing I did want to mention, and it was in very, very small print, which you may not have been able to see on the budget that went out. Oktoberfest looks like we have spent thousands of dollars. There's no revenue that is offset against that. The way our QuickBooks works, revenue is not applied against those expenses. So we did not spend $22,000 or whatever the last couple of years were of Oktoberfest. We've had all of our income that has offset those expenses. So I wanted to make sure everybody, knew that. We, of course, try to bring a budget that's going to be equal with our anticipated income, but we do have to take a leap of faith, and that's kind of where you come in. The next slide. And this one, of course, is harder to see. It's, of course, a little bit easier to see when it's in color. It was probably hard to see in black and white. The gray that you see, that's our budget. The orange that you see have been our expenses. So as a council, we've done really well to try to not spend our budget, because the blue line is our giving. And from October to December, of course, that's anticipated giving. We always seem to, of course, go up in December. So we're hoping, of course, that that blue line kind of goes above the orange line so that our income is exceeding our expenses. But just kind of wanted to give you a visual of what that looks like. And the next slide, please. So this is just an overall by category. And on the printouts that were sent home, we did break out, because I know everybody is curious as far as how the salaries and wages break out. And it was my fault that I didn't actually have that printout because I told Debbie to do the 2 pages of the budget, forgetting that I had the 3rd page that had the salary breakdown. So hopefully you were able to review that from the information that you got at home. So before we discuss, I actually need a motion to approve the budget as presented and a second, and then I will open up the floor for discussion. So Sherry John has made a motion to approve the budget. Who was second? Mimi Jones second. Okay, so open for discussion. So any overall discussion? Don't all, John? Oh, here, let's see. Well, but see if everybody can. Okay. So it's,
Thank you. Okay. I've had the luxury, I would call it, of being on Finance Committee over a few years, and in fact chaired it a number of years ago. And while I agree with your blue and gray line up there, one of the key things that we're running into is to do that, we have to tap into reserves and designated funds. Those reserve and designated funds are starting to dry up. Now, I don't know what that exact number is right now, but if you just look at what goes into the general fund from a revenue perspective versus expenses, we pull in about 80 cents for every dollar we spend. That gap cannot continue. So what do? Well, there's 2 options. One, we could go through the budget and cut it back 20 percentage points. I don't think we want to go that far. How do we increase revenue? Well, I challenge the council to look at pledge cards and make sure we are on the money to hit those expense numbers. Because unless we start doing something very, very soon, I'm afraid what's going to happen is we're going to slowly dry up. We cannot sit there in a budget and look at the numbers and say, well, we can cut this amount out. That's too drastic. We've got to balance it off between increasing our revenue and doing some cuts into the budget itself in order to maintain our current policies, philosophies, and so on. That's all I got.
So is there anyone else that wants to make a comment? Of course, Jim, I'm not surprised.
That's why I'm sitting close to the door so I can get booted out. They think I'm serious, I am. Okay, I take what John said. Okay, the way we're gonna go this year, if you take the average of the income through August and then added it, we're gonna be between $825,000 and $910,000. That's gonna put us at a deficit, what John said. Okay, I have several points down here, but after that, I'm gonna vote no, because this thing says, Holy Trinity Lutheran Church 2026 revenue and expense budget approved 10/3/2025. Where is the revenue? Can somebody tell me where the revenue is? And that's all I got to say.
So,
And you may have already said this. Did Oktoberfest? Hello? Got it? Okay. Oktoberfest. Did we make any money off of that, or did we lose money?
Can everybody hear me? Oh, wow, that's loud. We don't have final numbers for Oktoberfest yet. I'm working with Alec to get those, but we'll not have those till the end of the month. But I just want to be clear to everybody here, Oktoberfest is not designed to be a money-making enterprise. It's designed to be a community outreach. And so our goal is really just to break even. It's not to make money, it's to open our doors to the community. So, just wanted to share that with everybody.
Kathy?
I have been a member since '89, and I've been a member since '89, and we've had Saturday service come in. We have 2 services on Sunday. We are now only 1 service on Sunday, but in looking at the budget, I have a question as to why Saturday night, why their budget is so high. Well, then maybe that's something where we can definitely cut back on. Do we have to have musicians every single Saturday night? Or can they have a service with music that has been taped or whatever? I just find that budget a lot higher than I think that we, maybe if we didn't have the Saturday night service, that's because the budget is for almost $22,000.
So I did want to comment that, so the Saturday musicians are under the Saturday service, and I'm going to let Larry comment.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Sabra and the council for all they do, because you're darned if you do and darned if you don't. I'd like to thank the council. Okay, thank you. If my calculations are correct, looking at the chart that we got here, it looks like our salaries are paying 59% of the budget. And that's a little high. It should never be more than 50%. And the other 50% goes for taxes, insurance, electricity, the whole match. I think the council, this ain't the time to make changes as far as we're here to vote on the budget, whether yay or nay. But I think the council, what they should look at is cutting back a little bit. A couple of points I want to bring out. Why are we paying the bank $5,000 to handle our money? They're handling our money, they're making money on our money, so why are we paying them $5,000 unless they're paying the salaries? Or do they do the payroll? I don't know if they do that or not.
That may be, ADP does our payroll. That may be part of that charge. ADP does our payroll, so I will look into that. I don't know if those are just true bank fees, because we have several accounts with Truist. I'll find out whether, of course, unfortunately, Mark's not here, so I will find out whether that includes the charges that we have to pay to ADP to process our payroll. Oh, Darlene, you're saying no? You don't think so? Okay. We'll look into that.
Yeah. And the other one is, let's see, I'm trying to think, my memory, I'm losing my memory here, but I think there was a couple of items that the council should look at for reducing some of the budget, but that's all I've got. Thank you.
He might have forgotten this one, but I'm Larry's other half. And we have been members here for a very, very long time. Is it not working? Oh. Oh, I'm too loud? Oh, no, okay. One of the things I wondered is, I know that we have landscaping that we pay, is quite a big amount. We have cleaning services and such. Do we bid out these services? Does the church bid out the services, or do they just pick somebody and hire them?
I know for landscaping, Eric did.
I can fill in. I'm Sherry John, I'm Eric's wife. I can tell you that the landscaping, Eric interviewed multiple different servers, different providers, over a course of about a month. Our previous facilities manager fired our landscape crew, so we recently just had to go out and find somebody else. And he got a
thank you for that. Thank you for that information. My question was not the cost of it. All I'm asking is, do we bid it out our services? That was my question. And you answered that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Tom?
Oh, yeah, a couple of things. One, hello? Is this working? Okay. A couple of things. One, I noticed there is no line item for Stephen Ministry. And
So he's asking the line item for student ministry. That is actually in the personnel line. Why they did that, I'm not sure. But the Lord's not ready to answer it.
oh, great, thank you. And my other one is, I was wondering why we're increasing benevolence by 20%.
Benevolence is actually a straight percentage of our giving. So it's not based on our budget, it's not based on our expenses, it's based on our giving. So if we're assuming we're gonna give $900,000, that is what our benevolence is. So of course that number will change truly based on our giving. And I did wanna make a comment, and I know Pastor, yeah. And I know some people don't like, for whatever reason, either the Senate or the politics, but the Senate, and at least represented by Bishop Strickland, has been very good to us. If you think last year, we had a pastor that left immediately. The next Sunday, he had pastors that started caring for our congregation. And so I want to know that at least as a church council, and I know several members as well too, you know, we support our synod. As long as we're a part of the ELCA, we will support the synod because of what they give back to us. It's not just, oh, well, they're sending those monies overseas, or they're sending them to projects, or, you know, maybe that we don't agree with. I look at it from a standpoint of, we're giving to the organization that is basically helping us. If it wasn't for them, as far as we would be, you know, minus ministers that we've had, of course, Bishop Strickland talked Pastor Dave into coming in to be our interim, and that's not an easy job to do. So I did kind of want to make, benevolence is based off of giving. So it is, that will change, but you have to kind of put in a number.
I just want to add on real quick and let you all know also. Can you hear me? That the ELCA brings things to us as well, but we are also looking for a pastor right now, and the ELCA provides benefits and things to the pastors, whether they contribute into pensions or things like that as well. So when pastor comes to look at us and how we have a partnership with the ELCA, they are going to want to make sure that we are supporting their future as a pastor as well. So just keep that in mind, please.
And Heather was kind of speaking from the call committee. So okay, Mimi, hold on.
Okay, I think, can you hear me okay? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, it's on my lip. Just a little bit of history. The Saturday service has changed and evolved. When I first joined here, I came and started to sing with Saturday night. The only paid person was the worship leader on Saturday. After he left, the new worship leader came in and eventually brought in a paid band. So there were lots of people that came and sang on Saturday night, and we were not paid, that we wanted to do that. Ginger, Cheryl McGraw, Chris and I. And the worship leader, of course, should be paid, and I think there's plenty of talent in this congregation to staff a Saturday night service and perhaps include some of the things that we've been missing in terms of bringing in our youth. I was on the call committee for the Saturday worship leader when the individual was hired to replace the previous one, and the commitment was verbal. The verbal commitment to evangelism was there.
but the actions did not back that up, other than bringing in a paid band instead of working with the volunteers that were coming.
Okay, any other comments, or Kathy?
I have one other question. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Other question that I have is about the money going out for the AV booth Saturday and Sunday. As far as, again, as Mimi said, Saturday night service, you know, volunteering, just like on Sunday service, there's many of us that do quite a few things, and, you know, between ushering, bread, this, and that. I was wondering, you know, the amount for the AV people, if that some of that could be more volunteers from our actual church too.
I'll kind of briefly speak to that. AV booth is kind of not my area, but we have found in the past to, and I don't know how to say this delicately, to have the people come and be committed, we found out that we needed to pay them. When somebody is paid, it is their job. They do show up unless there's an emergency. So that's what we found that we had to go to, because the volunteers that we had were not necessarily showing up. Oh, it's a volunteer, somebody else will do it. But as you know, we can normally grab an acolyte, we can grab because it's kind of hard to just grab somebody from the congregation to do the AV booth.
Can you hear me? You all heard me at worship today saying next Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, there's going to be a training session that Sal is going to lead for the AV booth. Now, the slides, how do you do the AV booth, all of the stuff that's connected with that. We need volunteers, to your point. The question is, Matt's going to be very concerned, how many of you are going to show up? And if we're antsy about paying for people to do the soundboard, then you all need to do it. You need to do it yourself, and you need to be trained to do it, because there's nothing more important to worship in this sanctuary than all of the screens and all of the slides. We have gotten used to all of that. It needs professional people to do it, or committed lay people. And this coming Sunday at 9 o'clock, we will find out the depth of the latter.
Okay, so are there any other comments? Debbie?
Sorry, I know I'm not a member, but I do support the church. And in regards to the AV booth, I am now responsible for Sundays. I have one person who is committed to doing it every Sunday. I do not have volunteers to continue through November and December. I have been looking for them. I put something out in the e-news. Sal is doing the training. We are trying to get some volunteers to help with that. It's more complicated than just going up there and hitting a button, and you do need the training, but I'm willing to consider anybody who's willing. So far, I can only get commitments day by day. So I just wanted to have that.
Thank you. Any other comments or? Okay, I'm sensing that we are ready to vote, and if everybody's got a ballot, and actually there are pencils and pens on the back, or there should be pens in your pew, or being pencils in your pew. And so basically I'm asking to either vote, and you can actually, Josh, if you want to move to the next slide. Basically just check yes or no, whether you approve the operating budget or not. And, oh, Mark, if you want to, so Mark, it looks like Pastor Dave is actually selecting those as well. And if you need a ballot, there's some on the outside. Oh. Yeah, see, that was my mistake. We're not going to have more than 100. I'm sorry. If you need more paper, maybe just do it on the budget, spare piece of paper, do it on what you might have. And there's one. Judy's got one. And Bill, once you can give that to somebody maybe to help count, then I'll need you back in here. Okay. Okay. Well, and actually I've got paper here too if you wanted to write yes or no. So do we need any other ballots? So our counters will go out and actually count that, so I appreciate your concern. I have made notes as far as what you've kind of brought up for us to look into, and then we'll start looking into that as far as this next year. So for 2027, hopefully we won't have the same questions or comments. So I think, have all the ballots been collected? Raise your hand. We could be slick with the Senate, and they actually have a program where you actually vote electronically. That was really cool when we had to vote. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how much it was. It was probably, but it made it really easy that you weren't passing around paper ballots and such. Okay, so Josh, if you want to move to the next one. While they're counting, we're going to move forward to the 2026 slate of candidates. And I did want to mention, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, if you guys will go to the pulpit, that way you should be able to hear. So as I kind of, I'll introduce you, I'll kind of get out of the way. I'll introduce you, and then if you'll go to the pulpit and kind of just a brief 1-minute bio, 30-second bio is all we need. So Linda Vogt. So Linda is representing Youth and Family, and she has graciously agreed to extend her term while we're still kind of in this transition. So for next year, she will need, so all of you youth parents, we will need a representative for Youth and Family for next year.
Can you hear me okay? Awesome. I like to use my teacher voice. I am honored to submit my name for consideration to continue as Holy Trinity Lutheran Church's council rep for the youth and parents. My family and I have been members here at Holy Trinity since 1998. So we've been around for a hot minute. Over the years, I've had the joy of supporting our children's spiritual growth through Sunday school, Vacation Bible School, and the children's Christmas pageant. And as John and I's children have gotten older, I've kind of shifted my focus to work more with the youth ministries and working with our youth leadership team on so many community outreach projects, mission trips, and just bonding opportunities with the children. I've had the privilege to witness and support the development of our church's future leaders, meaning our youth, and I've served on council for the past 4 years. Given the current transition within just our congregation and our youth program, I am more than grateful for the opportunity to extend my term for 1 more year. I'm committed to helping guide and support our youth leadership team, and our congregation through this time of change.
Thank you. So next one is Bill Van Buskirk. He is going to be representing of course, we have to kind of vote on, but we've kind of selected members, or they have volunteered, or some may be voluntold, in their particular area that they want to serve. So Bill is going to be representing stewardship.
Yep. Thanks, Abra. Most of you know me, but Karen and I have been members here since 2005, and I've held a number, is this working?
Yeah, so I think it's, yeah. just
Working?
a
Yeah,
little
okay,
bit,
is this
yeah.
better? Okay.
Yep, lean in.
Since 2005, and held a number of positions here within the church. Holy Trinity is very important to me. I've been council president, vice president, personnel committee chair, evangelism committee chair, and stewardship. And I want to thank Kip for all his efforts this past 2 years in stewardship. I've remained on the committee, and you've seen that our focus this year is what is on our horizon. And you're going to be getting in the next week or so to your homes the letter and the card for your intent for next year. And it's very important. And again, I'm focused on the future of this church, because stewardship is what is the glue that puts all the ministry, the funds, all the volunteers, and the finances for our ministries here. And as you know, we're an aging congregation. We need to focus on youth, and that's why one of the things Pastor said today, which I haven't heard in 20 years from a pastor, is that our future is what you give, and how much you give is how much you care about Holy Trinity. Saber asked me to take over again stewardship. I was hesitant, but I feel a calling here over the many years to this church, and we are at our most critical time here in the history of the 73 years of this church, because we're calling a pastor, and we need to grow our church, we need to grow our membership, and stewardship's going to be focused on that. So would appreciate your vote and look forward to continuing service to this church. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. In the area of evangelism, Richard Radke. So, yep. Thank you, You got to go up there. I made everybody else go up there. You got to go up there.
Elvis has left the building. Oh, well. I didn't get to prepare too much here because they just got me into this on Friday. I've actually done it before, though. I don't know if that's really my first term on there or not, but it'll work really well because I'll have with me John and whoever that lady is there, and Paula still helping with some of the different things that are going on, Oktoberfest especially. I think it's going to be a very important area for us to work on here so that we can kind of get up and running again. And Sandy and I have been here since 2004. We joined after our other church closed, and I taught confirmation class at that church. I taught confirmation class here. We had the whole upper room completely filled with kids. And to see what's happening now is troublesome, and I'm hoping, we can really try and figure some things out with getting people in here, because we've got lots of important things here, and I don't know. That was sort of it's always a good thing to remember back to, actually, is the thing. So anyway, I do, as I just said, I do think my role will be sort of a key one, but I think it's going to be helped by people that have been doing this stuff for a long time, so we can just gather together and do that. And Sandy says she's going to help me too, which should keep me in line maybe just a little bit. I don't know, So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. The next two are ones that are continuing. As our Constitution said, they can serve two-year terms. So Chuck Gregory is our representative for Saturday night. I don't believe I didn't see him, he's not here. And then John Falscraft is our Sunday worship leader. And so, John, if you'll say a few things.
Good afternoon. So I'm John Falsgraf, and I'm accepting my second term as Sunday Worship Committee Chairperson. I've been a member since 2014. I sing in the choir, I work on Oktoberfest, and then I've been leading this committee for a couple of years. So I love worship. I know whenever we survey the congregation, one thing that always comes back is how everyone loves our worship. So I love our worship. I've been a Lutheran all my life, so I love the Lutheran worship. So I will say, if you're interested in joining the committee, we have a great committee, people that, take care of the ushers, the readers, communion. Denise and Paulette take care of I'm not supposed to use that word, decorating the sanctuary, but it's always lovely throughout the year. So if you're interested in participating in that, feel free to join us. Thanks.
Thank you, John. And I don't know whether you need to say much about me or not. I'm Saber Black and have agreed, I guess, I don't want to leave in a turmoil. So I have another 2 years that I can serve. I know somebody said, are you still serving? So some of the members and some of the ones that have agreed to do it, I guess agreed to do it because I was going to continue. But I do love this church. I've been a member since we moved here in 87, 86, and I went away to help with a mission church, and it just really, we had the same 5 families doing everything. And you do that for more than 2 or 3 years, and you get kind of burned out. So I told my dad, I said, find me a big church. I don't want to participate. Well, of course, he found me a big church, and my nature is I like to participate. So anyway, that's how I'm here. So we're going to end with Ryan. So Ryan is going to be our youth representative. So Ryan, you want to come up, say a few things? Yep, you have to go to the pulpit.
Hello, my name is Ryan Vogt, and I'm here for the youth representative for the 2026 Church Council. I guess you could say I've been a lifelong member of Holy Trinity, considering the stories my mom tells me of me toddling around the sanctuary, helping to prepare the Christmas pageant when I was only 8 months old. My connection to Holy Trinity runs deep through my participation in church youth group and the Boy Scout troop that meets here every Sunday. I'm currently a life rank in Boy Scouts and am working towards Eagle Scout. Scouting has provided me with the leadership experience through the merit badges, high adventure trips, and service projects. These experiences continue to help me develop a strong personal leadership style. I was confirmed at Holy Trinity last year and have remained an engaged member ever since. I regularly attend youth group events such as River of Life, Mission Trip in Columbus, and the Confirmation Retreat in All Georgia. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I do want to say that the youth bring a different perspective that we need, and so we do appreciate when they take their time out of their schedule to help serve. So what I do is so that is our slate of candidates, and I did want to mention we do have a couple more openings that we can fill. What I can do is I can appoint, after our congregational meeting, I can appoint members to council, and then they would get elected at the next congregational meeting. So we have openings in our adult and children's ministry as well as social outreach. So if you're interested in that, we've had some interest in the adult and children's ministry, but she's not a member. So we have to kind of work on that first because our Constitution says you have to be a member. So I love that somebody is enthusiastic, but they do have to be a member. So if anybody is interested in any of those positions, I am open to receiving them. So I guess with that, is there any nominations from the floor? So we basically have 2 open positions, and I'm not sensing anything. So I need a motion to accept the slate of council nominations as presented. Do I have a motion? Joyce Miller? And do I have a second? Mimi? All in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed? Thank you. And thank you for the... I do appreciate the willingness to serve. It's not a hard job, and it's one of those that you kind of don't see maybe what they're doing, but it's a very important job in the way we kind of represent our congregation. So I have the budget results back. We have, for yes, 77, no, 14. So our budget has passed for 2026. So thank you. So before, and I guess you can go to the next slide, Josh. So before we kind of open the floor for congregational concerns, I want to just talk briefly about our call process. Your committee is hard at work finalizing what we call the ministry site plan. And they should have that done actually in the next couple of weeks. Actually, it's even less than that is what I'm hearing. Then it gets sent to the bishop. He looks it over and says, yes or no, or I'd make this change here, I'd make that change there. Then it comes to the council. We will approve it. It gets sent back to the bishop, and then he basically starts his job of looking for names. So that is kind of where we are in the process. Like I said, they're close to kind of sending that MSP off. And for those, if you've kind of seen some of those as far as from our congregational listening sessions, it's a pretty intense document. So they've spent a lot of time, all the listening sessions, all of that's gone into the presenting of that document. So it's unknown as far as once the bishop gets it, he will start looking and comparing names that he knows of inside and outside the synod. It's not limited to just the Southeastern Synod. Then he will send the call committee a list of names. He will do his due diligence, and then he will send the list of names. Then our call committee will start the interview process, and they'll narrow it down as they go to one name that gets presented to council. Since we don't know how long that's going to take, I don't have a crystal ball, Pastor Dave, when he originally started, he actually had said, I'm going to end this in September. He graciously agreed to go through October. So we will have what we call a bridge pastor, as we did last November and December. So our bridge pastor is going to be Pastor Ron Bonner. So he will be with us for November and December. In December, we will evaluate where we are in the call process. Because if the bishop goes, I see nobody. I don't have any names. I don't see anybody. It could be another year. At that point, then we would reach out and get a long-term, I think a long-term interim is what they call. Because Pastor Dave says, I am willing to come back in January, but only until Easter. That's his drop-dead deadline. So we can't evaluate that until we know where we are in the process. So unfortunately, I can't give you anything beyond kind of November and December at this point, but we will certainly keep you updated. I did want to introduce Caleb. So Caleb is our interim director of youth, and he actually just had to leave because his little boy was getting a little restless. So Caleb is he is working with Sal, because as you know, Sal's last day will actually be towards the end of October. So he is working with Sal. I know they've already got things planned and everything else. And speaking of planned, I wanted to make sure that you knew that they need, next week for trunk or treat, they need trunks and they need treats. So anything you can do for trunk or treat next week, reach out to Linda, just bring candy, whatever you can provide, they need that. Yep. Okay, are there any other concerns? Oh. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
You said Pastor Dave will leave at the end of this month?
Yes.
Can't he graciously extend it until the end of the year?
Unfortunately, no. Pastor Dave already has plans with his family for November and December. So we already knew we kind of had a drop-dead deadline. So I know he will be leaving out the back door before anybody else leaves. That way he's not attacked. But I know it's very hard to say goodbye to somebody that's been with us and has been leading us. Oh, Caleb is here. So before we kind of go, oh, Mimi.
Could I just say thank you, Pastor Dave?
Thank you. So this is Caleb Givens. So like I said, he is going to be working with Sal. And we'll be leading our youth and working through that process as they say goodbye to Sal and that they welcome Caleb. And did you want to say a few words?
Sure. Sorry, Mom's homesick today, so I'm trying to single dad life. And we just got married, so I'm learning a lot this week. But yeah, Sal and I have brief time together, but I've known him a couple years, so I kind of know where he was headed and where the church is headed. So my goal is to grow, give little man a future here. So yeah, I'm excited to see where we go from here. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other concerns? Since I think that's it. Oh. Okay. Okay, so in case you didn't hear Jim, basically we'll try to make sure we do that. So I'm kind of tasking our 2026 council members just once a month, put something in the trumpet that says what your committee is doing. Nicole is working temporarily to kind of help Debbie put the trumpet together, and I know the deadline actually was last week, but she will take things through tomorrow, so she can kind of start working on that. But yeah, so just, and Jim's right, just we need to let you know what we're doing and what the committees are doing, and that way we can explain. And I know with the capital campaign, what's left in there is hopefully to replace the doors. We have the doors, we just can't find anybody to put the windows in the doors. So that's what we're working towards now, as far as what's left in the capital campaign. Okay, so any other concerns? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, Joyce, did you have a concern or motion to adjourn? Do I have a second? Tom, Joyce, and Tom. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Meeting adjourned. Before we go, can we pray together the Lord's Prayer? And if we can maybe stand. Oh, I guess I need to start. So if I said, we probably can't make a circle, but that's very tough. But so our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. The Lord be with you. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Thanks be to God.